Last night, I've been hearing some messages about the watchers, the people who have to stay alert and be aware of their situation. Um, More recently, I'm not sure how it was perceived in the past, but more recently, you might have been labeled as a viewer and someone who only consumes content, but I feel like you have no choice because you're constantly watching your environment, and it takes your attention away from every other aspect of your life. So in the past you might have been considered, I mean, in a previous life, had you been born in, older times, or from talking to an older generation, you might have been considered the security system. People look at you um like you got everyone's back. So it looks like this is something that you want to leave behind. Like, it's like somebody needs to take your place. It's time to tag out of this position. It's not something that was meant to be eternal. There should be partnerships in place, someone coming to take over. Like, it's my shift. It's my time to watch. Um, I feel like you have a lot to leave in the past, a lot of things you want to forget, a lot of people taken from you, a lot of expectation placed on you, heavy burdens. But yeah, just this emphasis of being a watcher and having to watch, having to keep your guards up. And I'm just going to pull some messages from our holy scriptures. Here we say, and he went his way and communed with the chief priests and captains, how he might betray him unto them. There's some information about leaving, and being in an agony, he prayed more earnestly, and his sweat was as it were great drops of blood falling down to the ground. So it's just this overwhelming presence of you wanting to be done with something, and basically like you're being held hostage, being forced to watch and babysit, and it's just something you're constantly trying to get out of. Any type of pressure that's put upon you, you just let it roll off your back like a drop of blood. Some more messages here. All right. And he saw that Saul was come out to seek his life, and David was in the wilderness of Ziph in the wood. All right. So there's this message of you being in the wilderness, you being in the wilderness, and that's the reason why people are looking up to you, because they're kind of like they don't know any better. Then came the word of the Lord unto Jeremiah, behold, I am the Lord, the God of all flesh. Is there anything too hard for me? So yeah, it's just like a physical thing that you have more awareness, you have more consciousness, you are more human than these people, you're more civilized. I'm not looking for politically correctness. You're more advanced. Yeah, this is the old world. You might have relocated to a new place and you're dealing with some old world indigenous people. So these are people who were on the land before you arrived. True to its topography, Sicily is depicted as a mountainous island set in a dark blue sea, whose waves break against the shoreline. The map is supplemented with detailed views of individual cities superimposed on the sea and illusionistically secured with sacks. So we're just talking about the area here, the greenery that you see. You might have been attracted to it from Google Maps, looked at it from afar and said, "Oh yeah, there's a lot of nature here. This is a new place I can relocate. I want to go somewhere where there's a lot of greenery." But you didn't realize that, an isolated area isn't going to have as much influence from the human hand. The largest of these inserts is a view of the city of Sycharis, located on the east coast, and its surrounding landscape. We are shown a bird's eye view of the old city and harbor, and set somewhat apart the castle complex dating to the time of Emperor Frederick II. The coastline around Syracuse, at the time Sicily's most important city, is punctuated by numerous walls and towers. So, with those towers being part of the topography, you do expect there to be some layer of civilization, but I'm just feeling like these people have been turned upside down by the environment. So you're dealing with some demonic influences, some real demonic energy, people who have given their life over to Satan. You are like the ships coming in. You come in with a new attitude, with a new mentality, and you also follow the rules of your community. But you're entering a new community, so it's almost like colonialism, like you're spreading this new information, and the people that you're coming across are going to have to deal with the new world order. There's not a more positive way to say it, because you don't have a choice. You're not from, I feel like you're more like in a subservient position. You have to do what you're told, but you're coming from a higher power. The person telling you what to do has more authority than these people who are fighting you. The main map, let's read ahead here. Alongside is a view of the city of Messina, made to look as if it has been painted on a piece of framed paper, and a third insert shows panoramas. The main map and the detailed views are all aligned with the cardinal points, and the text panel provides geographical information such as the distance to Africa and the circumference of the island. So this may literally have to do with Africa, or it could just be about any other country you move to, or just any area you move to. This map almost looks cartoonish. Like there's no way that this is literally what it looks like. It just looks so out of date, so out of touch. I feel like that's where you're headed. You're headed to a place where, even with this recent news, people just don't keep up with the news. They don't know what's going on. They don't realize who you are or where you come from. Let's see. Yeah, this is the return of Messiah. So you come with instructions. I feel like your map is planned out. Like your consequences are already set in stone. You already know where your path is headed. And so there's no reason to fight. It's almost like community service at this point. People may think you're doing something out of the kindness of your heart, but you know what the consequences are if you were to walk away from the situation. There's a way higher price to pay than anyone trying to bully you. This is the Madonna and the Child with Saints. Although Perugino is perhaps best known for launching the career of his most famous pupil, Raphael, he was renowned in his own right, carrying out important commissions for three popes, Sixtus IV, Innocent VIII, and Julius II. His elegant, well-balanced compositions combine the precise modeling and bold articulation of the Florentine figural style with the clear, harmonious structures of space that was a hallmark of Umbrian painting. So you see how these people are gathered around this woman, this mother, this Madonna with her child. And the structure really shows that there is structure to this belief, but you're entering a system that has no structure. It can fall, it can shift, it rebuilds itself. It's almost like a house made out of sand. The present altarpiece was originally commissioned for a chapel in the Palazzo di Priori, one of the most excellent civic buildings in Perugia, the Umbrian city from which Perugino earned his moniker. The Virgin appears at center with the Christ child on his lap, enthroned beneath an arched canopy. The patron saints of Perugia stand to either side: Lawrence and Louis of Tollhouse to her left, Herculanus and Constantius to her right. So these are important figures. Let's come back to that. I just feel like you have nothing to worry about, and you might not have known that until recently. I feel like you might have felt like you had to fight back, but this was a process that you needed to go through in order to gain that patience that you now have. And it's just, you know, that the fight is over for you, but you can still hear um, the residual, you know, the residue of this argument that is going on in your patients. I may be talking to a doctor or someone in the medical field, someone new to their residency, or just someone who is in a helping, serving position, someone who serves the kingdom and understands, you know, the spiritual warfare that's going on, the mental illness that you are sensitive to. You might have been swept up with the crowd and people thought that, well, I feel like anyone that sees you knows that you're a working person, but you're kind of undercover. They can see through the disguise that you are someone special, someone coming with authority, but you're not fully in your position. Still going through your probationary period. Feeling something from here. Let's see. Feeling something from here. Right. So we're gonna take these. By which also he went and preached unto the spirits in prison. Let the redeemed of the Lord say so, whom he hath redeemed from the hand of the enemy. So I'll just give you the verses here because I feel like that's spot on. This is very much about the spirit and the spirit that you work with and the spirit that you are obeying right now. The spirit that has power over your life. I feel like you make decisions that people may consider risky, troublesome, but they don't have authority or power over you. They are sick. They are the patients, you know, in this situation. They are the ones receiving healing. You are the one who is bound and contracted to this servitude. You have to do what you're doing. And, you know, we can get into that in another reading. Like how much you had to go through to recognize that you have no choice or option but to submit, and ultimately it's your glory, your, I want to say your power, but all power belongs to Christ, all glory belongs to Christ, and it's just your mission. It's, what else can you say? It's just, you know, you're not the only one in this situation. You're surrounded by your brothers and sisters. We cry together, we laugh together, and it's a lot of darkness, there's a lot of light. It's all worth it. But at the end of the day, you're chosen. You don't have a choice.